どうもこんばんは。これ見えてるかな。よし、ようこそ伯爵たる空へ。怪異総大将の日頃もだ。よろしく。今日はザ・スタンリー・パラベルっていうゲームをやろうと思うんだが、こんばんはこんばんはこんばんはこんばんはこんばんはこんばんはこんばんはこんばんは、どうもどうもどうもこんばんは。今日はこのゲームやろうと思うんだが、まあどういうゲームかはちびっとしか知らない。ちょっと待ってな。よいしょ。どういうゲームかはちびっとしか知らなくてあれなんだが、何やらなんだっけ、あれをするゲームらしい。なんか指示に従わずに行くゲームらしい。なんか指示されるらしいんだが、ゲームの中でそれに沿ってゲームをするらしいんだ。だからまあ今日はできる限りできる限りそれでどんなゲームなのかやっていきたいと思うってことで始めるか。よくわかんない俺もよくわかんないけどやるしかない。とりあえずビギニングザゲーム。一回このゲームを入れるにあたって日本語、このゲーム日本語版がなくて日本語パッチっていうのを入れなくちゃいけないんだが、その日本語パッチが適用されてるかどうかを見るために一度だけここは起動した。そしたら日本語パッチは適用されてた日本語パッチは適用されてたわ。でもここのローディングがすこぶる長い。ここのローディングがすげえ長えんだもうここのローディングがすごく長いんだ。もうこれ準備中にやっときゃよかったさっきの配信待機画面中にやっときゃよかった。今すごい後悔してるもん。今すこぶる後悔してる。全然終わんないもん。一曲歌えるまあ歌わないが、まあ歌わないんだが、お、ちょっと伸びたな。ちょっと伸びたぞ。オッケーオッケーオッケー。長いよなすげえ長えんだこれ。めちゃくちゃ長えんだ。これもう待機画面と変わらんからなもうこれ待機画面だから、実際これ喋っているだけの待機画面だから、待機画面と何一つとして変わらんからね。そろそろ始まりそうだな。始まれ。始まるか。始まるか。おいおい、怖い怖い怖い怖い。砂時計のマークは怖いて。どうだ。お、来るか。来た。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
これはスタンリーという男の物語です。
スタンリー
は大きなビルの中にある会社で従業員427番として働いていました。従業員427番の仕事は簡単で、427番の部屋で机に座り、キーボードのボタンを押すだけというものでした。具体的には指示はデスクの上のモニターに表示されました。どのボタンを押せばいいのか、どのくらい長く押せばいいのか、どの順番で押せばいいのか。従業員427番は毎日 毎月毎年この作業を繰り返してきました。他の人にはこんな仕事は辛すぎるかもしれませんが、スタンリーはいつも指示が来るたびに喜びを感じていました。まるで仕事をするために生まれてきたかのように。スタンリーは幸せでした。しかしある日、とても奇妙なことが起きました。スタンリーの人生を変えてしまう出来事が、死ぬまで忘れられないような出来事が。その日、彼は1時間ほどデスクに向かっていましたが、モニターには一つの指示も届きませんでした。誰も彼に指示を出したり、会議を招集したり、挨拶すらしてくれませんでした。こんなことは今まで一度もありませんでした。こんな完全な孤立は。明らかに何かが変でした。スタンリーはしばらく動けずにいました。しかし気を取り直した彼はデスクから立ち上がり仕事場を後にしました。ほう。おお。これは誰もいないのか。ちょっと待ってな。あ、オッケーオッケーオッケー。なんかね、コントローラーが作動してたわ。ずっとなんか何も押さずに前行くからさ、なんだこれって思ったら大丈夫でした。やばいやばいやばい。よいしょ。オッケー。でも何なんだろうね、これ。あ、なんかいけそうじゃないあっち。あ、とりあえず一人になっちゃったんで、原因究明のためにちょっと探す感じか。2つのドアの前に来ました。そして彼は左のドアに入りました。まあなんだろう。あれだよな。まあ、従った方がいいよな。だって、そう言ってんだもんな。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
はあ。
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
左側にある最初のドア。
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead
メ
to
ンテ
the
ナンスセ
opposite
クション
door,
を
and
素通り
got
し、
back on track.
素通りせずにここ行くのはよっしゃー。来たー。来た来た来た来た。
But Stanley didn't want to go back to
し
the
かしスタンリーはオフィスに戻ろうとせずルートからさらに外れました。ここから戻るためにはこう
So now, in order to
ここ
get
から
back, he needed to go
左。
From here, it's left.
いけないのこれ。あ、いけないね。左しかいけない。左しかいけないわ。
Oh no, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely.
おお、開いた。 開いた開いた。トラックんこっち。
No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. This time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
わあ、最初からだって。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
会議っすね。オッケー。行くわ。会議室行けばいいんだろ。オッケ
ー。When Stanley... Wait. What? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
なんか始まった。ストーリー探そうだって。うわ。なんだこれ。やばい。ホラーゲームばりの入り組みじゃん。お、やばい、こっち暗い。これホラーゲームと間違うって。これ見た人絶対ホラーゲームと間違うよ。あ、こっちじゃない？ぽい。あ、違う。
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I found it unlikely we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
強制的にリスタートされたんだけど。おう。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
会議室に行くことにしました。はい。行きましょ
う。Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
これ今の間の取り方完璧だろ。
And see if we missed anything.
オッケー。何か見逃してないか探しに行くか。おお。
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
ストーリーだ、来るぞ。
No, wait. Never mind. The story. Okay,
来ねえじゃん。おい。
And retrace our steps.
しっかりしろ。ちゃんと話せ。
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
怖くないなんか。
Is this the story?
大丈夫？
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any action.
おもろいな、なんか喋れないな。
Win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
喋れないって。
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
さすがにこれで最初からかな。さすがにね。もう俺の勝ちだからこれ。実際俺の勝ちねこれ。まあ余裕だったわ。 めちゃくちゃ余裕だった。
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
信じられない、マジで。こっち？もうこの線に従っていった方が新しいルート行けそうだよね、これ。
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this
まだリスタートじゃないんだ。
Onward,
しかも。
Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination
うわ、すごいすごいすごい。線がどんどんグワングワンなってきた。
Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably coming into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
ああ、いいよ、全然許す、全然許す。
Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now
でも流して元
is
気
a
出
bit
そう。
of music
OK？
to lighten the mood.
音でかい気がするけど。
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
あの詩だ？
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
何の伏線でもないだろ。もういいわ。何の伏線でもないだろ、マジで詩だなんて。
Wait, what? We're back at the office?
あれ？戻ってきた。
No.
戻ってきた。
No. Line. You do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
そう、俺たち探してるのはスタンリー・パラベルともうストーリーだから。
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
OK。リスタートしようか。お、始まった。もう何も
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
ストーリー作ればいいんじゃないだろう。おお、そうそうそう。
This all sounds perfectly doable.
いいものができそう。OK。
Start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
OK。行こうぜ。一緒にストーリー作ろ
う。Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything.
これだからさっき見たな。
Story to be. Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
よかった、今一瞬終わんないかと思った。
Oh no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
うわ、なんか大丈夫かこれ。超不穏じゃない。
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity.
OK、選択だ。
I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
あ、これ、真ん中じゃいけない、これ。
So I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
よくわかんないけど言ってる
So
こ
starting from the
と。
right, let us ask, will taking the right door
はいはいはい。
lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
おー、いいね。
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game
お、すごい。
eight times?
これ全部のエンディング？
That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Do it!
And the timer stopped?
タイム止まった？サイクルが抜け出した。
Did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is.
作者の知らないスケジュール。
How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
怖い怖い怖い怖い。
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
唐突に来るんだがもはやホラゲな。なんか今のあれだね、多分エンドがいくらでもあるゲームなんだろうねこれ。なんか怖いね。普通にホラーゲームだね普通にホラーゲームだった。まあね、今日は時間が許す限りずっとこれやっていくから、まあ、ちょっと話すことできないなあんまり話せないな。行くか。あ、これで最初からだ。会議室に行くことにしました。 OK。 全部のエンド見るまでやる。一応やろうとは思ってるかな。わかんないこれね、ちょっと今回左行ってみよう。ちょっとさっき申し訳ないことしたこいつには。逆らいすぎたね。会議室には誰もいませんでした。疑念は強くなるばかりです。スタンリーは上司のオフィスへ行くことにしました。そこに答えがあるはずだと信じて。おお。階段を登って上司のオフィスに向かいました。よし。しかしスタンリーにはできませんでした。上司に出かす可能性が考えました。もう絶対従ってやんね。俺
？And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
ループしている、してるね。
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange.
こんなのおかしすぎる。これは現実じゃない。
At last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons.
楽しんだ方がいいかもしれない。なるほど、なるほど。
So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One, he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
違う、またループ
Why
か。
is there a voice in my head
どうして私でやることや考えること
dictating
すべて
everything
話す声の
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who
な
found
る
it
ほどね。
particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a
この
voice
ナレーションすら
describing me, thinking about how it's
ってことね。
describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as
これい
awake
つまで
right
待ってればいい
now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to
閉じる
wake
閉じる目が
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up,
起
he
きろ
thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day
Mariella?
like any other.
誰
She rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at
死
the
体なん
body,
だ
and then she turned and ran.
スタンリーかわいそうだなさあ気を取り直して
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt
Stanley,
safe in,
安全な場所を
that
見
he
つけて
would
から
never leave it again in his life.
一生離れないなに
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
なんかさっきから音するねなんか
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase,
そろそろ上行くか。
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
おお、いいね。こっちは
Stepping into
んえねえ待って、バグったちょっと待ってあれブチブチ言ってるよね。んほら、なんかチラッと見えるじゃん。どうしようかな。これ開かないから待ったら開くとかないか。ないわちょっとバグ総大将かもしれんな。でもなんか全部開いてるね。あれさっき閉まってなかったっけ。下行ってループするかだってナレーションの音が全然聞こえないから、多分ナレーションの人を置き去りにした可能性高い。ここじゃない？何これYou are now living おい、英語弱いんだよな。754。こっちないか。ホラーゲームだってここだけ見たら。あ、すごい。続くね。怖いね、ちょっと。ね、俺も暗すぎてよく分かってないから。大丈夫。何も大丈夫じゃないけど。これ無限に登るだけ？開かないもんな。どうしよう。お、なんかある。エスケープポットランチバイエスケープ。お、なんかある。もう何にも出てこなかったけどねまあこのゲームホラーゲーじゃないから、そういうホラー演出は多分ないとは思うんだけど。どういうこと今の。脱出用ポットっていうのに乗り込んだよね。何が発動条件なんだろう。ああ、ナレーション聞こえた。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
うわー、どういうことこれ。電気消してこうぜ。いや、ナレーターいるってあれなんだね。大切だ。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door.
そろそろ右行ってみるか
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew
Okay.
it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
これさっ
left.
き左行ってあのリフトに乗ったから次こっち行ってみるか。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5
め
years.
ちゃくちゃけなされてる。怖っ。これ落ちたら軽く死んじゃうやつだよ。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
あ、いけそうだな。
Someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
な、ちょっとこっち気になるわ。
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it,
彼女の
Stanley.
ため
Your chance to redeem yourself. To put
彼
your
女を
work
迎えに行きま
aside.
しょう。
To let her back into
どういうこと？
your life. She's been waiting.
うわ。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Huh?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going
この
on.
世界の真実？
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
キーボードの2を教えてください。押してください。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his
はい
existence.
はいはいはい。V を押してください。
Look at him there, pushing buttons,
Oh.
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
T。いろんなところ押させるな。
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
TV を見るには K を押してください。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work,
Telebi?
he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
息子たちと一緒に過ごすには Z。
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too
よく
wonderful
わ
to
かんないけど。
behold.
ディナーを準備をするためには J を。
As he wandered through this
Oh.
fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many
これらを
directions.
こう言いまし
And
た。
down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
眠る?
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button,
次のボタ
do
ンを押
not
す指示が
do
表示されて
it.
も
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I
押した
suppose.
な
I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
押したくなっちゃう
I
もんね
must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
え
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
どういうことわかんなかったけど、まあなんかゲームがこうやってできてるよみたいな、こんなエンディングがあるよみたいのは教えてもらったけど、まあ知らないか。
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
ちょっとずつ変わるんだな、ここ。ちょっと一回真面目にやるか。
When Stanley came to a set of
なんかそろそろ
doors,
ナレーターの
he
人
entered
不憫
the
に感
door
じてき
on
た。
his left.
真面目な
Yet
ルー
there
トね
was。not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
もう
disbelief,
真面目以外の
Stanley
何者でもない
decided
か
to
ら
go。up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
よしよしよしよし。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be?
これか。
In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random
赤字で
buttons on the
2845出てきた。
Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
お
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
こっちか ち何もないな。こっちか。今のところ正規ルートじゃない？まあちょっと寄り道はしたけどさ。寄り道はしたけど、比較的正規ルートだよね。OK？ ん？ちょっと待ってな。よいしょ。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him?
こっちか。
This question would not go unanswered for long.
もうすぐ明らかになるでしょう。よし、真面目にやるか。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
試されてるな。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
死ぬの？
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on
引き
track.
返してやり直すチャンスがありました。
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
あ、やばいね。もう引き返せないわ。真面目卒業。真面目卒業総大将ね。てかマインドコントロールってなんかあれだよね。洗脳の場所みたいな。そんな感じなんだ。メインルートはそんな感じ？アドベンチャー始まったって。最悪。
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story. Trapped forever in his narrow
なんでこんなの作ってんだよ。作るな。
Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end
飛び移れ飛び移れ。
in shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
うわ。ザワールド。
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
え？
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
スタンリーもともと死んでた？あ、これあれか。これが最初のオフィスでガーっていって、ゲーム冒頭のオフィスの模型です。スタンリーの仕事場から2つのドアまでの道のりがゲーム開発の初期に作られました。へえ。ここね。ザ・オフィス。ゲーム内のボタンの効果音。 あ、スタッフロールか。エンディング。ソリティア。おまけ部屋みたいなとこ来たよね。なんだこれ。結構広いね。広すぎちゃう？おー。これは？へえ。なんかなんか早くない？ここ来るの来るの早すぎた。ちょっとまずいね。何も流れてないけど。これ何もわかんないね。ちょっと。あ、あった。これじゃない？
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
ザ・スタンリー・パラベル。終わりです。
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
ああ。もう終わっちゃうんだ。終わっちゃったんだ。なるほどね。最初からやるよってことか。やばいね。はあ。よし。まあそういうなんか、そうね、深いゲームだね。マジで。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
最後だけ真面目にやってやるか。
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
最後ぐらいな真面目にやんないといけないよな。これが最後の集会にしましょう。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
聞かずに行くわ。
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
ナレーターの話を言うせよ。
Anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calm new age music.
上げさせてくんない。タバコうまいね。
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
OK？ ナレーターが頑張ってるから申し訳ない。いっか。今お茶も飲みました。お茶も。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Now
the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
つまりスタンリーは
No, he refused to believe it.
監視されて
He
た。
couldn't accept it. His own life
何
in
者かに
someone else's
上司。
control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
これが正規のエンディングなんだ。これを見せたかったんだ、ナレーションはずっと。なるほどね。じゃああと一つ気になることして終わろうかな。なんかまだまだやってないことたくさんあるけどね。なんか感動した。俺よくわかんなかったけど。あれかな、多分洗脳されて働かせられてたけど、働かせられてたけど、なんかあれなんだね。解放されたよみたいな。
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
こっから飛び降りるのも気にならない。あっち行けるんだよ、ほら。
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else
ほら、
can be
これめっちゃ気になってた、さっき
but
から
the
ずっと。
fact is that the story has been about
多分
nothing
ね、
but you all
作ない
this
し。
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
めっ
for
ちゃ怒られて
others?
る。
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
赤い扉?
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red
あからさますぎ
door.
るだろ。青ないじゃん。こっち開かない？開かないか。お、あるじゃん。
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
めっちゃ怒ってる。
I put a lot of time into that.
めちゃくちゃ怒ってる。
And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
めちゃくちゃ怒ってる。
Tell you what. Let me take a stab
め
in
ち
the
ゃくちゃ
dark
怒っ
at
て
a
る。
new
なんか
design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option.
Oh.
This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with
何
this
こ
new
れ?
version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be
レビュー
honest.
しろって言ってん
I'm
のか。
looking for some real critical feedback here.
面白い。
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third
評
door?
価いいよ。
Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version.
新しいバージョンをコンパイルしま
I
した。
think I've
おお。
knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
え？何これ？ザ・スタンリー・パラベル。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard
あの
helps
プレイ
you
ヤー
feel
ランキングがどう
motivated
と
to
か
keep walking through doors?
プレイヤーランキングとかあるんだ。
Honest answers, please.
いや、めちゃくちゃいいプレイヤーランキ
Hey,
ン
I nearly
グ。
forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a
新
lovely
しいゲームの
opportunity
試
to
作
give
品
it some playtesting.
いいよいい
You
よ。
wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
お、新しいゲーム始まる？これ始まるな。
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire,
赤ちゃんが
he'll
炎に。
fail. It's a
はあ。
very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours
4
of play
時間？
to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on
4
your
時間はやばい。おおおお。ああ、え、これ4時間？これ4時間やばいって。
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of
こ
a
れは
single
クソ
thing
ゲー
that
だわ。
might improve the experience
これ
for
は
me.
クソゲ
I'm
ー。
not even going to try. I'm out.
こ
I'm
の
out.
赤ちゃん燃やさないゲームはクソゲーだって。
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's
気晴らしに誰か他の人が作ったゲームをプレイしていませんか？
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
え、なんかやるの？他に？何やんの？え、何やんのこれ？おっと？ロードが長いぞ。慣れたずっとかわいそうだな。お、進んだ進んだ。
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell
うわ
me
見
that,
覚えあ
Stanley.
る。
Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill
これ
a
なん
greater
だ？
artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
おうおう。家作る。
This will go here. No, here. And then. Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own
芸術作
inadequacy.
品。
Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside.
どこが？
You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside
なんか
and make
中に入る。
yourself comfortable.
はい。
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
行こう行こう採掘。 とか掘れないか。これああ、もうやるか。
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit
明かりは持って
dark.
きま
You
したか？
brought a light?
明かり持ってきてないよ俺。いや、マインクラフト楽しいな。
No, this is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This
こ
won't do at all.
この作品はダメだ。星一つだ。
Diamonds couldn't save this one.
おいおい
Okay,
お
new
い。
game.
おい、やめとけって。お前やめとけってマジで。星1とか言うなお前。マインクラフトのことをお前。おー。こう。なんか突然マイクラやってたんだけど。ん？なんだ？
Yes, I don't even
何
know
こ
what
れ？
this game is, but I love it. You trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's
もうモテる。
inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
あ、開いてる？開いてる。なにこれ何これ？これ何のゲーム？
Oh, it's
パズル。
puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
おう。これをここに置いて。
Genius.
賢い。
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stop.
先行かせて。落ちた。え？待って、ナレーションまたいなくなった。怖い怖い怖い。ホラーゲーム始まってるって。あ、明かりだ。マジでさ。見捨てられた？何も反応しない。どういうこと？
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
なるほどね。なんか、すごいめたいゲームだね、なんか。ゲームであることをなんかすごい主張してくるね。難しい。なんか時々そういうなんかホラーみたいなさ、展開になるから、とりあえず今日はここまでだな、パート1というか。よし。ということで、まあこれ 右上に書いたけどパート1ね。多分まだまだあると思うんだ。感じ。とりあえず全部のエンドは見れんかもしれんが、ある程度のね、気になることやって、あと何やってないっけ？なんかいろいろやってないよね。まあちょっと次までにいろいろやってから来ようかな。なんかとりあえず難しいメタアドベンチャーみたいな感じだったので、とりあえず本日はこの程度で終わりにしておきます。おそらくパート2が最終回ですおそらくね、おそらくパート2が最終回ですまあまあまあ、配信見ながらちょっと下の字幕読みながらあれするの難しいかもしれんけど、もし分かんなかったことがあったら、分かんなかったところがあったら、まあアーカイブ見てもらえればなと思う。ということで、ザ・スタンリー・パラベルパート1、これにて終わりだ。来てくれてありがとう。また会おうそれじゃあ良き旅を。お疲れ、お疲れ様、お疲れお疲れお疲れお疲れ様、お疲れお疲れお疲れお疲れ。